Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how-to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show. Hello, insiders. Today I have another repeat guest. Welcome back to the show, Matthew.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. And how about you?
I'm doing good. Just here.
All right, good. Well, please reintroduce yourself to the insiders.
Um, this was always like the most nerve-wracking thing for me in school. When they would say, all right, you need to stand up and you need to say what your name is and your favorite fruit or something like that. I'd be like, oh, my nerves. I don't know why. Something about introducing yourself just feels... Anyways, I'm Matthew, and I guess a blogger. People have been saying to me recently, in things that I've been doing, they've been asking me what's my title, because that's, I guess, always important.
Yes.
Is it the entrepreneur or is it the blogger? And right now I'm the blogger.
Okay, you're the vlogger. All right, so you're Matthew the blogger. Okay, I like that, and I'll work with it. So, let's recap a little. The last time you were on the show, we spoke about traveling and about the World Cup. What happened after that, especially after you posted the episode on your social media?
So I was nervous about doing the podcast, of course. Last time when you had asked me, I thought it was an amazing opportunity, and I was nervous. And I think I took a picture that weekend with where I was, and I just said, caption it, and I told people about the podcast and go and check it out. And at the end, I said, take a listen, give me some feedback, because I don't like my speaking voice. Surprisingly, a lot of people actually left feedback. Like, they took the time to listen, which is not a short podcast. So that was very, appreciated.
Okay. Right.
And it helps you to take that next step.
Okay, good. Well, I'm happy for that. How about like in your speaking voice now?
No, still like it, but I try not to listen back to these things.
Okay. Looking back on that trip, the World Cup trip and so forth, would you have done anything differently?
Yeah, I would have. So what I had done, there were two things, and I kind of tried to put them bookend them. Like, I had a trip in Canada, and then I knew I wanted to go to the World Cup, which was weeks and weeks after. So I kind of put them together, and at the end where it came to the World Cup part was when I really felt like I needed to go home. So I didn't give myself enough time, I think.
Yes.
We had watched a match in Sochi, like such an amazing match. And then we had to go over to Moscow because there's no real flight from Sochi back to this side of the world. So you have to, go through somewhere. So I spent, I think, 2 nights in Moscow.
Yes.
When I spent it there, they were playing the Mexico, I can't remember who Mexico was playing, I think maybe Germany.
Okay.
They're playing the Mexico-Germany match. And when I got there, I just distinctly remember wishing, I wish I had gotten tickets for this too. I was in the space at the right time. I wish I had thought it through and gotten an excess of tickets, because the atmosphere in Russia, like how excited everybody was, I don't know that I've experienced that before at all. And I wish I had actually gotten to the match.
You're a travel blogger. Tell us how we can become travel bloggers. So please share this experience with us.
To become a travel blogger, the first thing you have to do is travel.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say about that. I don't know if I actually consider myself a travel blogger, to be honest.
Yes.
A lot of the people who do it, they do it full time. They're very specific. Some, are very niche markets. Some people do it and they'll stay in hostels. Some people do it as solo travelers. Some people do it and they take, some kind of niche. The truth is travel is a hobby of mine. It's something I love, but it's not the only thing. And I really want to be able to blog about everything. So I've actually been trying to, just use topics that whatever, I feel about at the moment. So it's not necessarily travel related, but anybody who wants to do it, I mean, it's just the intent.
All right. But even what you just said a while ago was informative because I didn't even know that, and I'm in this space a little bit. But I didn't realize that some persons just focus on maybe say going to hostels, or some people just focus on going to maybe just hotels. I didn't even realize that. But so it just shows that when you have knowledge, sometimes you assume that others have that knowledge, but really we don't. So the thing that I really want from you though is like your journey with blogging. Like the day you got up and you said, "Ping, I'm going to start blogging today." So that's what I'm saying. Like, what informed that decision?
I don't have a specific day that, as you said, I never woke up and it was just like, ping.
Yeah.
Nothing happened like that. But what I can say happened is that I after my trips, there would be so much stories, and sadly, I'm the kind of person that actually I forget a lot of, my memory is weird. I remember certain things very distinctly, and if I remember that particular thing, nobody can beat me at remembering it.
Yes.
But there's so many details of so many funny things that happened, and then it passed, and then I didn't get to document it. So a lot of it actually can be for me in the future, to be able to look back and be like, that thing happened. And people kept on saying, like, you should do a travel blog or you should do a blog. Like, people kept on saying, Matthew, you have interesting things to say. You should do this.
Okay.
So one of the things my friends did, I don't know if I'm going too long on the question.
No, please. No, spend a lot of time.
We did a trip to Bahamas, and my friend Simi, so she does, Shutterfly makes these books. They're like photography books. You put in your own content and you just put in your pictures, and it's a customized book. And she does them at the end of a lot of her trips and details them, and she's so good at it. And, she did one after I had gone on my first trip with them, Heather and Simi. And it's just so amazing. And that was, I think, a good point of inspiration to be like, yes, I need to do this.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds very good. So that what you were inspired by just looking at what your friend was doing.
I mean, yeah, she was documenting it in a way that I would like to.
Yeah.
I just thought mine is more public and hers is what I showed in her. She's more private than I am.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, what do you need to start a blog?
I said it earlier. You need intent. You just need to want to do it. That's all. I mean, I could list the technical things, like, of course, you're going to need
a few of them, yes.
Yeah, you're going to need an internet connection. You're going to need a computer or a phone or somewhere, some library or something to be able to blog from. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Like, you can actually just type on how do I start a blog and then go from there.
Okay, so basically just do your research online. Start from doing your research online.
Yeah, and it depends. I mean, it can cost you very little, and it can cost you very much, depending on how you want to do it. But it's not like it's something that's costly either. You can start a blog. I think they have free ones that you can start. Okay.
And the thing that people need to understand also is that, as you said, I mean, you love traveling, and you actually started traveling locally before, you started doing the international thing. So, person should also take that into mind. Like, don't feel as if you're not a traveler just because you're not taking the trip to, let's say, China, or you're not taking the trip to Dubai or something like that. Doing your small travels around your country is good enough to start, would you say?
No, 100%. I've been traveling for a long time, but a lot of that traveling was, going to school when I was going away and, going to visit friends, but it wasn't to go on adventures per se. So as you said, all that is relatively new, as in it happened in the last 10 years. But there are bloggers right now. There's Rochelle. I'm trying to remember her actual blog name, but she actually focuses just on travel through Jamaica, and she details all of these like secret gems. It's amazing. I always tell people a lot, Jamaica is one of the most beautiful countries. Yes. And so like you'd be surprised by how much we have here and how much you still haven't seen. How much I still haven't seen. So yeah, for sure, like travel locally.
Of course. Thank you for that. So after blogging for, I'm thinking it's a year now. You've been blogging for a year, right?
I think about a year, yeah.
Okay, good. So after blogging for a year, what major lessons have you learned? Because I'm sure you have picked up some new things and you have realized things that even maybe about yourself that you didn't know before.
What major things have I picked up blogging? I mean, the main thing I'd say, and it doesn't just relate to blogging, but everything else, is that if you believe in something, then do it to 100% of your ability. Like, I think when I started, I was so nervous and I was so caught up in just that, like, just being conscious of what I was doing, and I wasn't really pushing it in, I think, the way I would like to have. And so a lot of it is just believing in yourself. Truthfully, I still don't know that much about blogging. I'm still doing it. I'm still an amateur. I don't really know much of what I'm doing. I wish I had somebody to edit my stories because I like writing, but I get lazy and I'm doing other work, and then I don't really want to, edit the story and make it proper or as best as it probably could be. So it really would be helpful. Like, if you have help in doing those things, I think that would be amazing. Like, reaching out to your network.
Okay, I like that. But just to give you a compliment, I actually like your writing style. It's very vivid. Like when I read your stuff, it's usually you put some humor in there, but the thing about it most is that it's vivid. Like, I feel as if you're moving me from point A to B. So I think you have a brilliant writing style. So
brilliant.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I don't know. I feel it's very simple. I'm not, a complicated writer. I just, whatever is in my mind, I just try and put it down on paper and then, or type it and put it through.
That's the genius of writing, The simpler, the better.
True. I do still feel like a great editor could probably take it from, maybe if it's good now, to make it great. And as I said, I do this blog for free, and it's not I wish I had somebody to do that kind of stuff. Friends have corrected before, grammatical errors, etc.
Okay, well, good. And I hope you'll get an editor in the future, and they'll help you along with that. So, Insiders, Matt's blog is Jamaican to the World, and, JamaicanToTheWorld.com, and you should definitely check it out. If for nothing but his post about how to afford traveling. But seeing that we have him here, please give us some tips on this topic, Matt.
The first thing is you have to set your mind and you have to decide you're going to do something. So take travel out of the equation, because that's one of the things you'll see at the end of the blog post that I said, actually, the tips I wrote were not specific to travel, but just as far as I'm concerned with life hacks. So the first thing I think is that you have a desire or you want to do it. If you have a goal, you'll be surprised. If you dedicate yourself to that goal, you'll be surprised how far you can push that post and how far you can do it. So if the hindrance to you, let's say the hindrance is financial, then start to think of ways that you can save. And I have many examples. We'd go out to eat all the time when we're in the States, and people would, buy, they just put like a soda onto their meal. And you're surprised to know the soda costs like $3 or $4 at some restaurants. And if you're actually comfortable with drinking water, you're saving so much at the end of the day. Little tiny habits that you don't know, add up so much. But if you are dedicated to your cause, then just put that together, and there are so many tips out there as to how to save money. Like, I couldn't go through all of them right now.
Yes. So once again, you're saying it's the mindset. It all starts with the mindset. If you really want to do it, you'll find a way to do it.
I think so. I think, set your goal and then see if you can make it there. And if you can't make it, if you've been pushing, maybe you've made it 75%. And then, maybe it might take you longer to get to the 100. But I think so. I think a lot of it is getting in that space.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely take that. So you hear that, Insiders? If you want to take that trip and it's been taking you a while to do it, start setting your mind and your goals towards it, and you'll see something happen. So, great tip there. So, where was your last trip?
So the last trip I did was Africa. I went to Africa towards the end of November, and I was there for about close to a month.
Okay.
Actually, no, it was about 2.5 weeks. Now that I think about it, it wasn't close to a month. The entire trip was close to a month, but Africa was actually only 2 weeks, a very short period of time.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can't just say that. You have to share the whole thing with us. So please do share from landing to finish, please.
Okay. The itinerary wise, I don't think that's very interesting per se.
Yes.
But I went to Africa. I can just tell you a few of the things I did. I went on a safari, which was the reason why I went over there in the first place. That was in Maun, Maun. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly. I went to Gaborone. That's not how you pronounce it, but I'm bad. The worst thing I am with is pronunciations. But I have a friend, a dear friend of mine, who studied medicine in Jamaica, and she is from Botswana. So I went to visit her after.
Okay.
I went from there. Let me try and connect the dots. I went from her to Johannesburg for like 2 days. It was just a stopover. I went from Joburg to Zimbabwe and Zambia, and that was strictly to see Victoria Falls.
Okay.
And then from there, I ended up in Cape Town for a few days. I did cage diving with sharks, and
cage diving with sharks. Hold on, come on! You can't just say cage diving with sharks and keep it moving. How did that happen, and what was that experience like?
So Cape Town has been somewhere on my radar for the past couple of years because I always hear in terms of cities that it's, one of the most amazing cities, and I believe two of the oceans meet each other at some exact point in Cape Town. Anyways, the water is extremely cold, and I think that is also good conditions for great whites. It's a thing over there. You go and you cage dive with great white sharks, but of course the diving operators can't ensure that you see a great white, so they just hopefully try to find you some sharks in case great whites don't come by, which unfortunately in my trip I didn't see any great whites. Apparently they've been very rare recently in terms of spotting them. Someone told me that I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to tell the story anyways, but somebody told me that there's some kind of fight going on between killer whales and great whites, and the killer whales are like killing off the great whites. So I don't know. Some kind of gang wars right now.
Okay. I'll definitely do some research on that for myself. That sounds pretty interesting. Okay.
Please tell me if you find out. I
will. I'll definitely get into that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so please continue with the trip.
The great whites was actually I cage dive on the first day, and then what happens when I'm traveling solo, I met some people in Zimbabwe. I met two sisters. Actually, I met a bunch of people, but two sisters just happened to have been traveling to Cape Town. So a lot of the things I wanted to do, they were actually going to do, and they were renting a car, and it just made it so easy for me. So I jumped on board with them, and we did a drive up the coast, Cape Point. And we did a town, I can't remember the name right now, but they have these colorful changing rooms on the beach. It's a popular point. And then, of course, there's the penguins. There's a beach where the penguins just kind of hang out by. And you go and you take pictures with them.
This is where? In South Africa?
In South Africa. This is all in Cape Town.
Penguins?
Penguins, yeah. Apparently there are two beaches that have penguins on it, and what I can't understand is why don't the penguins go to all the different beaches in Cape Town? Why are they just hiking on that two? But there are two specific spots they go to for whatever reason, and these are penguins that are also specific to the region. I can't remember the type of penguin, but yeah, we went and we saw it's amazing.
Wow, I was just thinking that, maybe I'm showing my ignorance here, but I was thinking they were really into more like cold climes. More than and I'm assuming South Africa is pretty hot.
So South Africa, the water, like I told you, remember the water is actually really cold.
Yes, you said that.
So when I went in winter, because I went, it's our winter. I went in December, and our winter is actually their summer. So I went when it is the warmest for them right now.
Okay.
I think it does have a winter apparently. It doesn't snow in Cape Town, but they do have a winter, and it does get cold there. So I think it's maybe where the country is situated, but again, I'm ignorant to it, so I don't really know that much. I just wanted to to the penguin.
Okay, and you experienced it, so I mean, it is real. It's not like we're making up stuff here. All right, so excellent.
No, man.
All right, good. So, I mean, even entertainers say taking a trip to Africa is expensive. What are your thoughts about this?
Taking any trip can be expensive. That is dependent on you and what kind of traveler you are and what kind of luxuries you want. So I would say taking any trip is expensive, but honestly, the most expensive part of going to Africa was the airfare.
Yes.
That is definitely the most expensive thing. I would actually go as far as to say it's actually one of the cheaper countries I've visited in terms of accommodations, hotels and Airbnbs, etc., and food and drinks. I mean, and drinks is a big one if people are drinking. It's actually on the cheaper side. I would actually say Jamaica is more expensive.
Oh, really? All right. So, I mean, give us some figures if you can, please. So, regarding the airfare from, let's say, America, how much is that? How much is it from America?
It'd be hard for me to say. I actually use a lot of points when I travel. So in this case, I used a lot of points. I think it'd be hard to say. I think somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 US.
Okay.
You have to just figure out your itinerary because I actually went Miami to London and then London to Cape Town. But I think there are New York to Cape Town flights, and I think if you catch it at the right time, it could be very cheap. There's a website or a Instagram handle called Secret Flying, and they announce flights all the time to different parts of the country for like the cheapest rates you'll find. So if you have flexibility, I'd say go on there, and then who knows, you could probably get to Cape Town for 600 US.
Wow. So you said that is Secret Flying, because that's huge news you're giving us right there. Secret Flying.
Yes, Secret Flying, and what they do is they also would announce the aerofares. So sometimes airlines do aerofares where they accidentally put a rate of let's say $50 for first class, to somewhere, and then if people pick it up quickly enough, a lot of the times the airline will honor those fares.
Oh, wow, we're getting some real insider information here now. I didn't know that.
Well, I have never actually caught that aerofare because, as I said, you probably have to like start the website and things like that because they don't happen every day. And of course, it has to be somewhere you're interested in going. So this is more for, I guess, the people who live in the States or an airport that would be popular to fly to. But yeah, I have found fares on it before that are really cheap. Like we went from LA to Thailand I think a year ago, and that entire ticket costed us $550 I think round trip from LA to Thailand and back, and that went to Japan.
Wow.
It was really cheap. Actually, I think it was more expensive to get from Kingston to LA than it was to actually go over to the east. So it's funny. Okay. Because if we lived in LA, of course, the trip would have been that much cheaper.
Yes. Have you blogged about this Instagram handle?
The Secret Flying one? No, I haven't.
Oh man,
I really need to get on top of. I do a bad job. That's why I said if I just had to write a few things and then say to everybody, here's a library of 30,000 pictures, and you just need to find 6 for this story. Trust me, I would probably be a lot further along in my blogging. But unfortunately, I do a full-time job and full-time other things, and I just don't have the time.
No problem. You're doing a great job as is. I've just said this is something I want you to blog about. I mean, I'll be talking about it more too. But definitely need you to blog about this one. All right.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, sure.
So, Matt, I've been looking at your travel stories and pictures and your pictures, and you seem to love getting naked in your pictures, especially on this Africa trip. What was happening there? What was happening?
Seem to love getting naked. I actually wrote. It's funny. I mean, I got naked on the safari, and so it's all concentrated to that. And in nude pictures you're seeing is of that experience. It's not like as if I run around naked everywhere. And I actually wrote that story. So anybody who is interested, check that one out because I think it's an amazing story. It's been an amazing experience. But I do love to get naked. I won't lie because I think that you're free. If you're free and you're comfortable being naked, then it's such a thrilling experience. The thing is, I'm not comfortable in it, or I can say I'm not fully comfortable. When you get naked, you're vulnerable, and everybody sees you for exactly who you are. And all of us have insecurities and flaws, so there's nothing to hide behind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So,
yes.
so it's an interesting thing. Anyways, if you read the blog, you'll know what I did the safari for. But afterwards, a few days later, when I got to Cape Town, there's a nude beach there, and I've gone to nude beaches all the time, but I normally just keep on my clothes because they are clothing optional.
And then, okay.
And I said to myself, I wonder if I can pass my comfort level now. You know, I've done this naked on safari thing, so I wonder if I can, be comfortable walking around naked with strangers. And I mean, I just took off my clothes and I went for it. So I'm trying to be more comfortable in my own nudity because that's how we're all born.
Yes, true. That is true. You're much braver than I am still. But what I'm saying is, what about the animals? Weren't you scared of the animals? When, as you said, you were vulnerable. You were out there,
The animals are afraid of us.
Okay.
So the interesting part, I mean, the majority of the shoot I did wasn't with any animals involved, but you will see, some of the pictures I've posted are with animals. So it seems like maybe I'm around them a lot. But the truth is, when you see a bunch of animals and you stop the car, when you're in the car, they don't really care, the Jeep. But when you do come out, all of their eyes instantly turn on to you.
Okay.
And there's one of them, like let's say the alpha, for example, that's watching. So if others aren't, there's one that's going to, I guess, communicate to the rest and tell them, whatever is going on. So I'd get out of the car, and then the animals would run a little bit further from me, and anytime they'd see me. And anytime, I'd walk a little bit and get too close, they would run further. So you never had that fear of them, You never had that fear. What you need to make sure, and this is a lot of things my safari guide taught me, but you have to make sure there's an exit for them as well. Don't trap an animal into a car, because that's is when they feel like they don't have an out.
Yes.
So even in the pictures, it seems like the animals are actually a lot closer to me than they are, and that's basically because of how he does his photography. So it gives this, I don't know the right word,
nearness
to you. Yeah, exactly. It's a photography term, but it makes it appear that they're nearer than they actually are. I think it's not point of view. Let me not talk foolishness.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not as close to me as people probably think looking at the pictures.
Okay. All right. Well, as I said, I mean, they were great photos, by the way. I mean, you got some really good pictures there. So, I mean, kudos to you on being brave.
Brave. I should point out, though, just so like nobody's reckless and goes and decides to run and take pictures with all these animals. As I said, I did have a guide who would help me and tell me, what to do or when to do it. So there are animals that are more dangerous. Apparently, I think elephants and hippos are two of the most dangerous animals.
Yeah.
So you don't want to play around with them too much, and you keep your distance, because if they decide to attack, then apparently they're actually more dangerous than lions and all these other animals you think are the dangerous ones.
Okay, information is so good. I mean, because that's our ignorance once again. So thank you for sharing that. Because I would assume that I'll be like, oh, the elephant isn't going to attack us. But yes, there you go. So information is really important. Just to recap. The last time we spoke, you said traveling on the Jamaican passport can be very difficult. How was this for you this time around, going to Africa and so forth?
Traveling to Africa has definitely been one of the easiest experiences on the Jamaican passport. I already had the visas per se to get me through the other countries to actually get to Africa. But once you're in Africa, none of the countries I visited, none of the 4 I listed, South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, none of them actually have any kind of visa for us. And when I went to Zimbabwe, was it? I think that's where I landed. When I went to Zimbabwe and we formed a line, all of these Americans in the line had to go to different kiosks, for lack of a better word, and pay money apparently to get a visa to go in. And I got into this special line that is, visa free. So there's probably some kind of communication between the countries, but they also knew my passport. It was amazing. It felt like for the first time roles were reversed. Like I was, the one treated special, as opposed to, somebody have me standing up in Egypt for 10 minutes to even find out where Jamaica is on the map.
Yes, I get you. So that is, once again, some very important information you're sharing there with us. So thanks for that. Okay. So Also, last time you said Greece was your favorite place in the world. Is that still the same?
Did I say that?
Favorite trip, your favorite trip. Let me not say favorite place in the world.
Oh man, Greece is. I have so many favorites, and I feel like when I say one is my favorite, I feel like I'm cheating on the next one. But Greece, Iceland, Costa Rica, Thailand, now Africa, and even Russia actually. And did I mention Spain? Spain is a big one for me because of the connections I made. Those are all up there at the very top.
Okay, all right. So there are many, many favorites.
There are a few, and I don't know if I could choose just one because, truthfully, I feel like I've loved almost everywhere I've been. But I love some more than others for certain reasons. And Greece is definitely still. I've only been to Greece once, and it was only for less than a week. But I am dying to go back.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to wrap up now, but please indulge me in some rapid fire questions before we go. So, I'll say the words and you tell me what comes to mind. So the first one is life.
Okay.
Life.
Life. Okay, I'm speechless. I don't have a word.
All right, speechless. Okay. Future.
Brian, I feel like I'm terrible at this game. I'm not one of those rapid future. I mean, the word for the year for me is intent. So let me go with that.
All right, so intent. All right, travel.
Adventure.
And my favorite, Instagram.
I don't know, social media.
Social media, okay, nice. So, Martin, thank you once again for coming on the show. If people would like to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
I mean, you already said the name of the blog is JamaicanToTheWorld.com, not Jamaica, JamaicanToTheWorld.com. And the Instagram handle is Matthew312, which is MATTEU312.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Ryan, for having me again. I mean, that's a real pleasure to come and talk about these stuff.
Okay, thanks. All right, so that's our up. Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.